Now we're going to look at geometric means. Geometric means, basically, remember this word means averages. How you're going to find this is you're going to say that there's three averages in between these two terms. So we have a blank, and a blank. Now the reason I do blanks is just to represent the three average values that are in between. Oops, that's not it. It's 1.03125. And if you remember from arithmetic sequence, we're going to use the explicit formula to solve this, where we have a sub n equals a sub 1 times your r to the power of n minus 1. Now in this case, we're going to say this is a sub n, or if we count it up, and this is, by the way, is our a sub 1, we'd have 1, 2, this is a sub 2, a sub 3, a sub 4, so this must be a sub 5, and so we'll say here that this term has become 1.03125, and that's going to equal, this is 264. We don't know the rate, but we do know n is 5. So we would have 5 minus 1 up there. And so to simplify this equation, I could divide this, because this right now is multiplying, so if I divide by 264, I can simplify this equation quite nicely. We'll have over here, just clear this out real quick, 1.03125, I believe is what it was. Let me go back and check. Yep, and we're going to divide this by 264. And so we get this value. All right, so 0, 0, and that's a wild number, and so we'll have 0, 0, 39, 0, 6, 2, 5, and that's going to be equal to r to the power of 4. Now, to get rid of a fourth power, what we're going to do is do a fourth root. Now, if you remember from earlier in the year, anytime we take a square root, we would do a plus or minus. Well, it's true if you do any even root. So here, I need to do plus or minus, which means these rates could be plus or minus going down. So I'm going to now take the fourth root of this value here in the calculator. So I'll do Control power. Now I can type in fourth root. And for this, I'm going to type in the actual answer right there. And so it just copies it straight down. When I take the fourth root, I find out that I'm multiplying these by 0.25. So r would equal plus or minus 0.25. So now we just fill in the values. So this, when I multiply by plus or minus 0.25, let's see what I get. And so we have 264 times 0.25 equals 66. And I do it again, times plus or minus 0.25. Okay, so this could be positive or negative, 66. And when I do it again, we get 16.5. Now this time, it's not going to be plus or minus. Now you might be confused, but I'll explain it real quickly. The reason it's not plus or minus is if this happened to be negative 0.25 that I'm multiplying by, this term would be negative, but a negative times a negative here would be positive. This term, however, could be plus or minus. So this one would be positive, this one would be negative. This one would be positive, this one negative, this one positive, and so on. Or they could all be positive as well. So we would do this again, times plus or minus 0.25. And I think it gets a pattern here. It's kind of like dividing it by 4. But let's just check and see what the value is here. Plus or minus 0.25. Press enter, and I get 4.125. And yes, that would give us that one if we multiplied it one more time. We could check real quick. We would just multiply it one more time. And yep, we do get the same number. So this looks like we've done it properly. And these would be our values all the way down. I'll copy this over, Put it over here so we can see the math. Yep, we did it all the way down. All right, you go ahead and try this one and see if you can find geometric sequence with 2 terms between those two.